Biden administration is facing pressure from within its own party to expel Jair Bolsonaro. The former Brazilian president has been in Florida for 2 weeks. He was taken to hospital with abdominal pain on Monday. It's reportedly related to a near-fatal stabbing he suffered during the 2018 election campaigns. Although Mr. Bolsonaro has denied inciting Sunday's attacks on Brazil's Congress, some U.S. Democrats want his diplomatic visa revoked.
If an individual has no basis on which to be in the United States, an individual is subject to removal by the Department of Homeland Security. Leaving individuals aside, and generally speaking, if someone entered the United States on an A visa, which is essentially a diplomatic visa for foreign diplomats or heads of state, an A visa holder, if an A visa holder is no longer engaged in official business on behalf of their government, it is incumbent on that visa holder to depart the U.S. or to request a change to another immigration status within 30 days. That request for a change in visa status would be made to the Department of Homeland Security. An A visa is reserved for someone who's engaged in official business in the United States on behalf of their government. Right. If that is no longer the case, it's incumbent on that particular individual to solicit a change in their status to a different kind of visa, whether that person may be eligible for a tourist visa, a business visa, or what have you.
Rallies chief correspondent John Cookson has been monitoring developments, and he joins us now from London. John, thanks so much for joining us on Newsday. What's the latest you're hearing from Brazil?
Hi, ladies. Great to be on Newsday. Well, the latest is the aftermath of those very impressive demonstrations in major cities like Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro. Tens of thousands of people out on the streets there. Now, how spontaneous that was is not clear because there is some background to the whole story of what's going on at the moment, in that the pro-Bolsonaro rioters planned what they were going to do, according to reports from Brazil. So I'm wondering if this reaction that we've seen hasn't also been planned, people perhaps bust in, but nevertheless, the crowds are certainly impressive. One demonstrator saying, "We are with Lula and democracy. We want respect for the people's vote." Just to remind ourselves that Lula won 50.9% of the vote in the October election, and Bolsonaro 49.1%. So it's a very, very, very thin majority. And this, of course, is part of the problem. That Brazil is a divided nation at the moment, and we're seeing the result of this, whipped up, of course, by people on both sides using social media, and not least Bolsonaro himself, who has encouraged rioting that we saw on Sunday indirectly, although denying that he was responsible and condemning them for what happened in a later tweet. So we've got this kind of divisive situation in Brazil, which has produced what we're seeing at the moment. Condemnation for Sunday's attack on Congress and presidential powers and the Supreme Court still continues. Even Pope Francis, who has great sway in Catholic South America, saying today that the rioting has weakened democracy in the Americas.
And John, what is the probability that the U.S. authorities would deport Bolsonaro out of Florida?
I think it's possible. Bolsonaro is, as you said in the intro, admitted to hospital in Florida with abdominal pains, and as long as he's in hospital, I don't think Americans are going to kick him out whilst he's there. I mean, that just didn't play well. And although a lot of Democrat congressmen and women are calling for his expulsion, the Republicans are not. So again, we have America divided, and there's so many parallels, are there not, between what happened in Brasilia on Sunday and the January 6th insurrection in Washington. There's so many likenesses between the two scenarios. But to answer your question, my understanding is that Bolsonaro can be kicked out on 72 hours notice on the type of visa that he has. But as I say, whilst he's in hospital and receiving medical treatment, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
So, John, would you say the unrest in Brazil is likely to continue?
Yeah, I would. This is not over by any means. As I say, the build-up to what happened on Sunday in Brazil, and we can see pictures there, had been going on for weeks, and this is not going to stop anytime soon. I do want to play you a bit of tape that we got into Arise News of protesters, pro-Bolsonaro protesters who were arrested on Sunday, and they're being held in a gymnasium. Let's try and look at that piece of tape if we have it. And they say that they're in inhuman condition. And indeed, one person has apparently died as a result of lack of medical care. That's according to Bolsonaro supporters. So, yes, I can see this continuing for weeks and months ahead.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and for giving us the update on that, John Cookson.